Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, and you're listening to Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. This 30-minute podcast features a new author interviewed by me every single day, 365 days a year, for about 30 minutes. I am also the publisher for Zibby Books, which publishes 12 books a year in fiction and memoir. Our books are already out now. You can check it out on zibbybooks.com. And we have a magazine called Zibby Mag, where we have lots of wonderful essays and lifestyle features. That's at zibbymag.com. We have classes at zibbyclasses.com. And I recently opened a bookstore in LA called Zibby's Bookshop at 1113 Montana Avenue at 11th Street in Santa Monica. I hope that you are able to enjoy some of our other offerings. But this here podcast is the basis of all of it and started in 2018. And no matter what I do, this is basically my favorite thing. Enjoy. This morning, I had a very special conversation with Einat Nathan, who is a parenting expert in Israel. And she was on my podcast a while ago. You can look for my past episode with her. But then we talked about her book, My Everything, about her parenting advice. This time, because she is based in Tel Aviv and is an Israeli woman, mother, everything, we decided to have a chat about what was going on, how we could help, what it's like for her, what she has to say as a parenting expert. It was moving and emotional, and I hung up the Zoom or whatever you want to call it, got off the Zoom, and just put my head in my hands because, wow. Anyway, I hope you listen to it. I hope you listen to it so you know what's going on in Israel right now, how people are feeling, the effects of the massacre by Hamas, and what it did to the people in the kibbutzim, and it's really important. And it also just shows the power of how we can all unite and how little acts of kindness are so, so critical. So please listen. Here's her bio. Einat Nathan is a parenting expert, public speaker, and best-selling author, certified by the Adler Institute and the Ministry of Education for Parental Instruction and Group Instruction. She also holds a bachelor's degree in law from Tel Aviv University. In recent years, she has begun to work the experience, insights, and knowledge accumulated into a significant breadth of work in the media, including TV morning talk shows and radio, a hit podcast with Hila Korach, and a popular column on major newspapers and websites. Her book, Haim Sheli in Hebrew, published by top publisher Kinneret Zamora Bitan, was the national bestseller of the year across all categories in 2018 and is still a steady seller. I've never heard that. Steady seller. It has sold more than 60,000 copies so far. The rights for the book were acquired by U.S. publisher Hachette, and it was published in North America under the name My Everything. Einat lives in Tel Aviv with her husband Yuval and her 5 children, Eyal, Yoav, Lihi, Rona, and Shira. Welcome, Einat. Thank you for coming back on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Our last interview was a while back, but was so meaningful to me. I'm such a, honestly a fan, and just feel with you with 5 kids. And oh my gosh. Anyway, thank you for coming on. This is a special bonus episode so we can talk about everything going on in Israel and all of that.
Can I say thank you for writing me and checking that I'm okay? At these times, being in Israel and, with everything going on, it's so heartwarming just to see an email of someone who cares,
Oh my gosh.
So it's not taken for granted.
That's so sweet. No, I'm personally so worried about people I know, people I don't know. I just, like all of us, there's so many of us here. What is going on? How does it feel to be there? Where are you in Israel? What has it been like? I know your son had served in the military when we last spoke.
Okay, my 2 sons had served in the military and finished. They're now students at the university. Now I have a daughter in the army, which is crying all day long. They have phones now in the army. When I was in the army, the nature was smarter. We couldn't phone our moms. So I don't know what we did, but we cried and we leaned on one another. Now I get a phone call every day. It's a video call, and I see my baby girl in uniforms with a gun and a helmet. And our last conversation was, she was crying and she was saying, Mommy, do you remember when you never forced us when we were young to go to after school activities, or always when we said we want to retire, you just made sure that we don't take this decision while having a failure, or and you always let us retire. I want to retire, Mommy. I want you to come and take me home. And
Oh,
she began. So this was yesterday's conversation. And it's still the same mission, by the way, because I know that 5 minutes after she empties her trash can over me, she's happy with her friends and she's safe, and she gets the present of feeling belonging to someone, and useful and meaningfulness. But and I'm sorry, generally for I don't know, giving birth to children in this place, or but this is out of my control. And then I have two more daughters at school, which we don't have school practically. I think they didn't go to school since June. It was like the summer holiday, and then we had the holidays, and then this war began. So this is on a personal level. We live in Tel Aviv, so we have the privilege of being safe. It's all relative, but and I was called for duty, since I'm a parenting expert, to help, IDF, the army, families of evacuated people from the horror areas, mothers and children's, and this is, Zibby, this is unbelievable. It feels like a bad dream, and I feel in a way like you feel being, you're in New York, right?
mhm.
Manhattan. It feels kind of like this when you're in Tel Aviv. So except for the privilege I have, to get on Zoom or to get inside the car and drive over there and give them a hug, there's nothing we can do.
Oh my gosh. So when you work in your capacity as a parenting expert and you're talking to the families, and I know this is what you do, but what can you say? How do you help? And what messaging? Like what can anyone do?
I think that the first, basic thing is just acknowledging that this is an encounter between two human souls, one in pain and the other one with a little tank fuel. It's always about how much you have left. So this is relative as well. I think that the same way I was so excited to get your email, there is something about human empathy, even about witnessing someone's pain, that is a huge relief. And basically, the questions that they have are, in a way, questions that no mother needs to ask herself seriously. But then it's the extreme questions of basic questions that we all ask ourselves. You know, how can we protect children from evil? How do we mediate things that happen in the outside world when we don't understand them fully?
Mhm.
How do we talk to children so they will listen? How can we see children's behaviors and understand the language, because we all know that their job is to behave and our job is to understand, and we didn't get the manual. So it's basically this. And I think the most comforting message that I bring to mothers is that, I think that we as adults, we're screwed.
This is your comforting statement?
Yes, it's hold on. Hang with me. I'm saying that because we get the full picture. But when you look at children, and when I say children, I'm talking about, the 24, 25 years that it takes for their brain to fully develop. When you look at children, you see that nature has done the best job to protect them, and all they need is for us to be okay. Now, that's a different view on things than, this fearful view of we can never correct for them. We can never take the clock back. They have experienced something that will, harm them for the rest of their lives. And it doesn't have to be that way. And it also, I hope, it gives us as an adults a reason to step up, to be and to do our job. This is the first job that we need to do, because we're responsible for these mini adults or uncooked brains that, they're helpless. And we are their Iron Dome.
Mm-hmm.
And we know from research, you remember the movie, I think it was Life is Beautiful, or with Roberto.
Buongiorno, principessa.
Yeah, they can walk through fire as long as the adult that, walks with them is not, it is this safe harbor of good narration, of the happy ending, or the safe place, or, just being able to give space to everything.
I was sort of snuggling with one of my kids this morning, and he was like, "I'm so glad you're my mom." And I was like, "Oh, thank you. Why?" And he's like, "Well, because I know you can protect me." And I was like, "Yes, I can. You're safe with me." And then I'm like thinking, I don't even know if we're safe. And I was telling a friend of mine this morning, a friend who's not Jewish, and she was like, "I don't understand this whole thing. Like, why do people hate Jewish people so much?" And I'm like, I can't even go there. I was like, but deep in our sort of DNA, every occasion Jewish people get together, we relive the past so it doesn't happen again. Like this is so, and I remember saying in the Holocaust, when all the signs came, as we learn about over and over. And I remember asking like my mom or something, I'm like, I don't understand, why did they not leave when all these things were happening with the stores and this and that? And she's like, well, that was their home. And I was like, I would have left, and now here I am. Right. And all these things are going on outside. When do we know how to leave? When do you know how to leave? You're in Israel now. From the outside, it looks like, oh my gosh, how are you going to be okay? How is anyone going to be okay? How do we know when to leave? How do you decide?
This is the best question, I think. And I was talking to my partner, my husband, the father of my children. By the way, let's talk about men, because I feel so bad for them. Because if nature, I'm sorry for the gender thing, but when you're in war, it's so obvious that he needs a gun now. Okay? He needs a gun now, not for revenge, not for, some politics, he needs a gun now to protect his family. and he doesn't have a gun. So he's watching the news all day long. And I'm in the place of, my gun as a mom is joy and baking and music and, you know, volunteering with my children in getting things for people that just ran from their homes without shoes, you know? And I was telling him, listen, we didn't have a word since this war began because we're taking care of people, small people, big people, people that need help. I just need to know that when the time for us to run away will come, you will tell me this is your zone. Because as an optimist, this is my job. If you want to take care of children, if you want to really be the good narrator, you can't think of the option that something will go wrong. And I was talking the day before yesterday, I had a meeting with, this was so surreal. We went over for me to talk to all the mothers of Kibbutz Be'eri, which is one of the kibbutzim who suffered from everything. Really, it was monstrous, and whoever survived, just they were evacuating to the Dead Sea, to a hotel, and you step into a tacky hotel and you see a kibbutz, people with dogs and mothers with babies. And it's like the opposite of something is wrong with the picture. And when I sat down with the moms, the narration that kept on showing up is the mind not being able to grasp all these hours that they were inside the shelters with the children. The men, some of them were out there with guns, some of them were just, just stayed out to see if the terrorists are moving in close. And they were saying, we never thought this could happen. We are living in an area that we had rockets, and this is a heaven on earth place. And our children were born here. We were born here. And the shelters are, the men are getting gadgets for the shelters all day long. She said, it's like your man with their vehicles or jeeps or whatever. They're so proud of the shelters. And I'm taking my 3 children to the shelter. And then I hear a song, and they just, in 5 seconds, they drill a hole. And I see the gun and I'm smiling to my children, and we're facing the wall, just, so the bullets will miss us. And then I smell that they're burning my house, and my husband is not there. So, and she's talking about it like you're talking about, you going shopping for cheese. And she says, so I take my camera and I take the photos out of the balcony to see if there are terrorists outside. And I understand that I can't stay in the shelter because we'll be burned. So I tell the children, listen, we need to jump from the 3rd floor. So let's play a game and it's going to be okay. And all I'm thinking about is, once we jump, how do I run that they don't get me? So she jumps with her 3 children, and one of them, has his 2 legs broken, and there's a man coming to help her because he was at the balcony just watching for his family. So he runs over just to pick her 11-year-old son and to run with him. And she's telling her small daughter to close her eyes because everything is full of bodies. And she sees, friends from her kindergarten just lying there, and they run, and then they get on the bus, and then someone shoots on the bus, and more stories and more stories and more stories. And then, she opens her phone and she shows me the we have WhatsApp here, so there's groups of moms, or moms soccer, moms ballet, moms, and she shows me the list of the ballet class. Only two girls are living. The ballet teacher is dead. The kindergarten teacher is dead. How do I tell my 5-year-old daughter that the entire kibbutz was wiped out when I was still holding her inside the shelter and telling her that we're playing a game? So, and this is happening in 2023. What?
So terrible. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like they are all in shock still also, right? Isn't it the brain's protective mechanism at the beginning?
The parents, the children it's amazing to watch the children, because you can see a couple of things. You can see children that had been given the present of, resilience. There's no other word. And they're cautious, but they can play, and they can laugh. They can take a couple of steps away from the mother. And you see the ones that have nothing, just emptiness. And I was asking before we came over if there's anything they need that we need to, because they get everything, this is, it's not just the fact that I believe that any person, anyone who has ever gave birth to children and cared about helpless creatures, even animals, by the way, they left animals. The children are talking about their cat and their, every person, all you want to do is just help. And the unity of, human kindness and the open heart and the so many good people, just surrounding them. So they practically have everything, because, you can take care of shoes for children or whatever. But we were having a Zoom conversation the other night with another evacuated area, and they started raising the issue of, small children that, how do you say, got rid of the diaper?
Toilet training?
This is it. Yeah. So they were free. They were trained. They were regressing back to wetting their beds. And I was telling the moms that it's not a good thing to bring back the diapers, because maybe they will feel that it's a failure, and that we need to be somehow glad that, regression is happening, because we don't want to see the full-blown regression of nothing or of muteness. By the way, a lot of kids stop speaking. And we don't want to see the everything's okay. We want to see something, regressing in order for joy to exist, or, heavy emotions, or tantrums, or being on the edge, or being angry at silly things, or wetting the bed in order for this to ventilate. So I was just giving proportions and saying that it's a good thing, and they just need to give space for it. And when I was talking to this mom, she said, listen, they evacuated us to this hotel, and there's nothing we can put on the beds, and all the children, all ages, are wetting the beds. So we needed to, anyway, I brought like 200 sheets, special sheets for beds. And
oh my goodness. I so appreciate you telling us here what is going on there. I am so honored to talk to you, who is there literally comforting the people going through the most unspeakable things that you are speaking of. The work you do is godly. It's amazing. And anything that we all can do to help you, to help other people there, just know that we are fully behind you, and, we're just here for you and sending our love.
I think that the biggest present of all, and it comes from adversity at any size, okay? The biggest present is to understand what kindness really means, and, and to just to be able to practice some self-compassion. This is it. Because when you say I'm grateful, and when you talk about me helping, I don't feel like I'm helping.
But you are.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I know.
I know. But this conversation is helping the helper, that, and a mother that was running with her kids without shoes. She is helping someone else. And I think that and this is something that is universal.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we can feel like we can take care of someone, and someone can take care of us, it's a chain, then everything is okay, because we are all somehow connected. The big fear is to be left alone. This is the hostage situation. I can't even begin to talk about this.
No.
So you see the relativity of it all? And it doesn't take an expert, because when your friend is coming in the middle of the night, crying, knocking at your door, you don't say, listen, I need to consult someone about how to comfort you. No, it's not. It's the look. It's the eyes. It's the oh my God, tell me. This is it. And it's all that our children need. So instead of protecting them, isolating them, thinking that our job is, to do something for them, or to take away negative emotions, or to shield them from anything. It's not. We just need to mediate it in a human way.
So beautiful. Einat, thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for enabling this conversation.
Please stay in touch. Please keep us posted, me posted, whatever. I'm here. I'm sending love.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com, and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.